Welcome, everyone, to today's Explainer. We're actually treating this session as an interactive professional workshop. Why? Because we need to uncover a mystery that is quietly plaguing businesses absolutely everywhere. Why are so many enterprise AI initiatives just stalling out? Together, we're going to figure out the diagnostic tools we need to stop spinning our wheels and, actually start generating some real value.
To kick us off, I really want you to picture a company. Let's call them Northshore Mutual. They're a regional insurance carrier out in the Midwest. Their VP of underwriting sees a competitor's flashy press release about AI-assisted underwriting, and boom, she immediately secures a budget. Fast forward just 2 months, and her team has actually built a working prototype. It reads a loan application and writes this beautiful, perfectly formatted 200-word risk summary. The demo goes flawlessly. Everyone's cheering. So here's a question for you to chew on. Why, 6 months later, did this wildly successful prototype just completely stall out and never see a single day of actual use?
I mean, the hype was definitely real. Right after that demo, the CEO sent out this glowing company-wide email, and every update in their project Slack channel was just flooded with enthusiastic emojis. But as we all know, emojis don't exactly pay the bills, right? The harsh reality is that 6 months down the line, the prototype is just sitting there, isolated in a notebook. 0 actual users. It's totally disconnected from their core system, and literally nobody can attach a single dollar of measurable value to it. So today, let's step into the shoes of seasoned implementation consultants and solve this puzzle together.
Here's our quick syllabus for today's masterclass. We'll kick things off with the stalled project mystery. Then we'll examine the billion-dollar cost curve. After that, we'll map out the 3 eras of AI, put you to the test with our skills workshop, and finally, wrap it all up with the FDE mindset.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Part 1, the stalled project mystery. We're going to use our Northshore Mutual case to diagnose exactly where things went off the rails.
Now, if you ask the engineering team that built it, they will swear to you that the model produces incredibly accurate summaries. But if we look a little closer, we have to see past just those accuracy metrics. The prototype lives in a totally isolated notebook. The summaries? They just get dumped into a Slack channel. They never write back to the actual policy administration system, which is the true system of record here. Think about a real underwriter's job for a second. Their job isn't to casually read summaries in Slack. Their job is to make a hard coverage decision in under 9 minutes with a fully defensible audit trail. The model didn't lack accuracy. Actually, scratch that. The accuracy was great. What it lacked was workflow integration. Plain and simple, if it doesn't write to the system of record, it basically doesn't exist.
And that local mystery at North Shore leads us perfectly into Section 2, the billion-dollar cost curve. This is the massive macroeconomic driver that's violently shifting how every single business has to treat AI right now.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the sheer scale of the numbers. It's staggering. Epoch AI analyzed 45 frontier model training runs, and they found that the amortized training cost is growing at an explosive rate of 2.4 times per year. To put that into perspective, the estimated cost to train GPT-4 was roughly $40 million. If we carry that 2.4x yearly growth forward, projected training runs are going to blast past $1 billion by 2027. Basically, raw frontier capabilities becoming unbelievably, almost incomprehensibly expensive for vendors to build from scratch.
Because building these behemoth models is so wildly capital intensive, this 2.4x yearly cost growth has shifted from being an investor concern to a pure engineering concern. Frontier capability is heavily concentrated in the hands of a few massive vendors. But here's the kicker. It is entirely abundant for you to just buy via an API. Think about the current models like Claude Opus 4.7 or GPT 5.4. Literally anyone with a credit card has access today. So the bottleneck is no longer getting your hands on the technology. The real bottleneck is the engineering challenge of translating that abundant, off-the-shelf capability into measured operational value inside your company's actual messy systems.
Which brings us to Section 3, the 3 eras of AI. This framework right here is going to act as your ultimate diagnostic cheat sheet for the rest of your career.
Take a look at how the entire field has completely shifted its center of gravity. We've essentially moved through 3 distinct eras of enterprise AI. Back in the research era, the big question was just, hey, can this work at all? Success was getting a paper published, and the tech lived safely in a lab. Then we moved into the experimentation era. The question evolved to, can we get it working here? Success was delivering a slick demo to leadership, but the tech was still trapped in a sandbox or a local notebook. Sound familiar? Yep, that's exactly where Northshore Mutual got stuck. Now, the entire field has shifted into the economics era. The only question that matters today is this producing measurable value? Success equals actual workflow adoption, and crucially, the AI lives directly inside the system of record.
So, the million-dollar question is, how do we advance a stalled project into that economics era? Well, it takes 3 absolutely non-negotiable moves. First, you have to define the success metric in the user's terms. We're talking about cycle time, not just how accurate the model is. Second, you must write the output directly into the system of record. And third, you have to instrument measurable business value. Take Brightspire Lending as a great example. By fully integrating their default flagging classifier right into their loan origination system, they realized that saving just 1 false approval was worth a $9,000 expected loss given default. That right there, that's what real hard business value looks like.
All right, let's put this into practice. Welcome to Part 4, Workshop, Test Your Skills. We're going to run through a rapid-fire diagnostic session to see if you can spot the era bottlenecks across 3 different real-world company scenarios.
Okay, here's your first case, Helion Therapeutics. Their pharma team goes ahead and trains a custom transformer model on a massive pile of internal lab notes to predict chemical reaction yields. They present the findings to huge applause at an internal R&D summit, but here's the catch. There is 0 production deployment planned for at least the next 12 months.
So, which era is Helion Therapeutics in? Look closely at the facts. How are they measuring success? And where does the project actually live? Take a split second to make your guess.
If you guessed research era, you hit the nail on the head. They are definitely stuck there. The dead giveaway is right there in the evidence. Success was measured by applause at an R&D summit with absolutely no plans for production. To fix this and level up to the next era, the required move is to identify a downstream chemistry workflow and actually write those model predictions directly into that workflow's data store. Let's move on to our next case and see how this builds.
Case number 2, Caravel Logistics. This fast-moving startup pilots an agentic workflow that automatically reroutes shipments around sudden weather disruptions. Pretty cool, right? It's currently running in a sandbox environment right alongside the human production dispatcher, but it is not integrated into the actual dispatch system, and no business stakeholder has signed off on any hard operational metrics.
So, they have a working pilot, but look at where it lives. I'm asking you directly, which era does Caravel fall into?
Yep, they are firmly stuck in the experimentation era. Living in a sandbox, completely isolated from the core system, makes this a pure experiment. It's cool tech, for sure, but it is not an economic reality just yet. The necessary fix here? They need to take that reroute proposal and integrate it directly into the dispatcher's live queue as a human-approved, fully measurable suggestion.
All right, here is our final scenario. Junctura SaaS. They decide to integrate GPT 5.4 straight into their customer support reply flow. The model drafts a response, and the human agent edits it. As a result, support handle time is down a massive 27%. The company is actually reporting this exact metric in their quarterly earnings calls. And importantly, a specific operations director is the day 2 owner, fully responsible for ongoing upgrades. For our final capstone case of the workshop, where does Junctura sit?
You guessed it, they are in the economics era, and this brilliantly illustrates exactly what a successful, value-producing AI deployment looks like in the wild. The human workflow actually changed, the metrics moved and are actively reported, and there is a clear business owner. Their next required move is purely optimization at this point, focusing on the overall cost per resolution rather than just looking at handle time alone.
So, you might be wondering, who is the person actually driving these required moves? Let's transition to our final section, Part 5, the FDE mindset. We need to understand exactly the kind of talent profile required to survive and win in this new landscape.
Meet the forward deployed engineer, or as we call it, the FDE. Now, the research era was dominated by the ML scientist. The experimentation era gave rise to the ML engineer. But this new economics era, it absolutely requires the FDE. This is a unique hybrid role. You have to understand software engineering to actually build the integration, product strategy to rigorously define those business metrics, and implementation consulting to change the actual messy human workflow. This is the exact persona built from the ground up to conquer that translation bottleneck we talked about earlier.
Wow, we have covered a ton of ground in this explainer today. We solved the great Northshore mystery, we explored the billion-dollar cost curve that is forcing us into the economics era, and we even tested our diagnostic skills in the workshop. So, I want to leave you with a provocative challenge. I want you to think about the AI initiative that is currently stalling out in your own workplace right now. Using everything we just learned today, what is the single acceptance criterion you will write right now to drag that project out of the sandbox and firmly into the system of record? Get to work on that, and I will see you in the next explainer.